City of Northglenn, Channel 8, keeping you informed of events in your community.
Good evening, and I would like to call our April 22nd regular City Council meeting to order. Joanna, would you call the roll, please?
Mayor Dodge.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Escobar.
Here.
Councilmember Sowers. Councilmember Leidy.
Here.
Councilmember Downing.
Here.
Councilmember Brown.
Here.
Councilmember Whitman will be absent. Councilmember Duran-Mullica.
Here.
Councilmember Wilford.
Here. Thank you, and will you stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Heather, is there any response to citizen inquiry this evening?
Yes, Mayor Dodge, thank you. I have the March CRM monthly stats to share with council and the community. During the month of March, we had 55 requests opened. Of those, 53 were closed. The primary method of contact was 59% via the website, 11% were employee entered, so that means a citizen called or emailed a staff member, and then 30% usage on the mobile app. And it appears in the last 3 months that the use of the app has been pretty consistent around the 30% range. The top requested topics included general code enforcement concerns, abandoned vehicle on public property, a request for a new trash cart, and then graffiti. In terms of closing out requests, 26 of those were done within 3 days. 13 of those were done between 4 and 7 days. 7 of those were done between 8 and 11 days, and then 2 of the requests took 12 days or longer. And that's all this evening.
Okay. Any discussion from council? Thank you very much. Are there any agenda additions or deletions from council? None? All right. We have a lot of proclamations this evening, so I am inviting the council down with me to read the proclamations and give out the awards. So please join me, council. You're definitely going to be tired of my voice in about 20 minutes from now. Okay. All right. Our first proclamation is to acknowledge Denim Day, and we don't have anyone present to receive it, so I will just read it. Whereas the month of April is National Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and the Peace Over Violence organization has declared April 24th, 2019 as Denim Day. And whereas every 2 minutes, someone in America is sexually assaulted, and approximately 1 in 5 women and 1 in 33 men are raped during their lifetime. Approximately 75% of harassment victims experience retaliation when they report it. And whereas the Denim Day movement is a worldwide effort that started as a grassroots protest against a controversial Italian Supreme Court decision in which a sexual assault conviction was overturned because the victim was wearing tight jeans at the time of the attack. And whereas Denim Day encourages everyone to stand in solidarity with survivors of sexual violence and speak up when they hear comments that blame victims or make light of sexual harassment and assault. And whereas together, when we change how we think and talk about the issue, we can create a culture of respect, equality, and safety for our residents. And whereas with proper education on the matter and comprehensive prevention projects, sexual violence and its unfair and traumatizing effects are preventable. And whereas the City of Northglenn supports the efforts of Peace Over Violence and the Start by Believing campaign to educate people in our community about the true impact of sexual violence and to heal victims. Now, therefore, I, Carol Dodge, Mayor of the City of Northglenn, Colorado, do hereby proclaim April 24th, 2019 as Denim Day in the City of Northglenn, and encourage everyone to wear denim on that day to show support for victims of sexual violence and to help communicate the message that there is no excuse and never an invitation to harass, abuse, assault, or rape. Dated at Northglenn, Colorado, this 22nd day of April 2019. Our next proclamation is an acknowledgement of National Day of Prayer, and we have quite a few friends to invite up here this evening. Now, I have a list, and if there are other church affiliations that are sitting out here that haven't signed up, you're also welcome to come up. So I do have a deacon here from Calvary Community Baptist. I was going to say communist. That's great. Calvary Community Baptist Church, but I don't have a name. Is there someone here from that church? Okay. Is Pastor Herbert Hernandez here? Okay. Hi, would you like to come up front and join me? Sure. You are from Chapel Haven Seventh-day Adventist Church.
Correct.
All right. Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for the
Pleasure to
invite.
meet you. Thank you. From Crossroads Church, Pastor James Johnson and Pastor Rick. Come on up. Thank you for being here this evening. Hello. And is Isan Riahi here with the Metro Denver Islamic Center? I didn't see him out here either. All right, is there anyone else that would like to come forward that has an affiliation? Hi, come on up.
Brandon Young with Immaculate Heart of Mary.
Brandon Young with Immaculate Heart of Mary.
Paul Carlson, St. Stevenson.
Paul Carlson with St. Stephen's Church. All right. So what I would like to do, and this is kind of for everybody this evening, we're going to read the proclamation and then have each of you speak if you feel inclined. And then we would like to take a group photo with the council. So if you would stay here after you speak, that would be awesome. Thank you. Okay. Whereas a National Day of Prayer was first observed by members of the Continental Congress in 1775, and President Truman signed a joint resolution declaring an annual National Day of Prayer in 1952. And whereas the 68th observance of the National Day of Prayer will be held on Thursday, May 2nd, 2019, with the theme Love One Another, which will be advanced on social media across all 50 states with the hashtag Love One Another. And whereas prayer has helped people pull through struggles and fears of every kind, and also serves as a wonderful way to express love, gratitude, and concern, whether in private or amongst family and friends. And whereas throughout our nation's history, leaders have urged residents of faith to pray for our land and those who defend our freedoms at home and abroad. And whereas National Day of Prayer is recognized by Coloradoans and Americans of all cultures, religions, and backgrounds, and those who participate will join in prayer to reaffirm our course as a democratic nation with the promise of liberty and justice for all. And whereas we unite with fellow residents to exercise the freedom we have to gather in prayer to seek guidance, provision, protection, and purpose for the benefit of every individual and for our community as a whole. Now, therefore, I, Carol Dodge, Mayor of the City of Northglenn, Colorado, do hereby proclaim Thursday, May 2nd, 2019 as National Day of Prayer in the City of Northglenn, and encourage every resident of this community to give thanks whether your particular place of worship is a church, synagogue, temple, mosque, home, or other hallowed place, for the freedoms and blessings we have received, and for continued guidance and protection. Dated at Northglenn, Colorado, this 22nd day of April 2019. I have individual proclamations for each of you, so since you're standing here, would you like to speak first? And this microphone, just if you hang close to it, it is good. This is for you.
Thank you, Mayor.
And you can say your name and church again.
Sure, my name's Brandon Young with Immaculate Heart of Mary in Northglenn. We've been in Northglenn for 50 years, over 50 years now. And we're pleased to serve. I mean, we have over 6,000 registered families, so we're a big part of the community. And we're always pleased to partner with the city, as we do multiple times throughout the year, and many of the other churches in the area, just to further the work of Christ for our community. So thank you very much.
Thank you. You get to stay up here with us.
All right, well, hi, my name is James Johnson, and I'm representing Crossroads Church. And on behalf of Crossroads Church, we are so thankful for the freedoms that we have and also the opportunity to partner with the city of Northglenn in really cultivating just a better community. As a community of faith, working with the school system, the government, law enforcement, the park system, and really it's our desire to see people grow in a holistic way toward health and happiness and safety. So it's a great joy for our church to partner in the activities of Northglenn community, and especially in the day of prayer. It's an opportunity for us to do some of the spiritual care for our city and partner in some significant ways there. So we want to thank you guys for the freedom and the opportunity to work together.
Because there's a lot of moving parts. I gave you the wrong one. Here we go.
Thank you.
Okay. And would you like to speak on that?
You could have said it all, but thank you.
Okay. All right, sir. Would you like to come forward?
I might as well say something, right?
Stand in front of you.
Is this what I do? Can I do that? That's good. I am Paul Carlson. I'm the, what they call an intentional interim pastor. From St. Stephen's Lutheran Church. We are in a year of transition between pastors and trying to reimagine our future to be of service in this community of Northglenn. So we're delighted to be here tonight. Thank you very much for the recognition. And we get to be recognized later for a marvelous piece of architecture we have on our campus, built by Charles Hartwell. We'll talk about that a little bit later this morning, this evening, I guess, where we are, whatever. I need to stop talking. I talked all last week, Holy Week and Easter, so I had a lot to say then. Delighted to be here tonight, and thank you so much for the recognition.
I just wanted to say thanks. Let me introduce myself. Herbert Hernandez, Chapel Haven, right off Huron 99. Again, we're just thankful to be part of this community and the opportunity to be part of this recognition of the importance of prayer in our community. So on behalf of our church, thank you, and thank you to the city of Northglenn.
Council steps up to the back, and then all you gentlemen go in front of us for your photo op. How would that be?
Are you not going to do this? Come on over here. Mr. Pastor Carlson is with me as well. And then these three gentlemen.
There I am again.
In the center. Come over farther. It's okay. South. Okay. Yes, Summer, our photographer. Let me see. Come back for enough. Sorry, guys. Yeah, see it all over our faces. Good stuff. Okay. Okay, we're gonna do one with a flash, so sorry. Here we go.
Oh, you have to do it again, because I know I did some weird thing. I felt it with that flash. I was like, woo!
Well, I'm gonna achieve.
I know, oh my gosh. It's so bad.
You scared her.
Oh,
that's even better. Sorry. That way we don't have to worry about a flash. Okay. Sorry. You're blinded. It's your fault. Sorry. There you go. Okay. Great.
Thank you all for meeting this evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sit down. our next proclamation is to acknowledge National Small Business Week, and Miss Debbie Tuttle, our Economic Development Director, is here this evening to receive. Hello, how are you?
Good evening.
Good. Whereas Northglenn's progress over the past 50 years has been driven by small entrepreneurial businesses that have pioneered our city, and whereas our startups, home-based storefront shops, office, service-based, and primary employers are the backbone of Northglenn's economy and the cornerstones of our nation's promise. And whereas small business owners have energy and a passion for what they do, and whereas when we support small businesses, jobs are created and local communities preserve their unique culture and character. And whereas this country's 30 million small businesses create nearly 2 out of every 3 net new jobs in our economy and spur economic growth in Northglenn and throughout our country. And whereas the President of the United States has proclaimed National Small Business Week every year since 1963 to highlight the programs and services available to entrepreneurs through the United States Small Business Administration and other government agencies. And whereas the City of Northglenn supports and joins in this national effort to help America's small businesses do what they do best, grow their business, create jobs, and ensure that our communities remain as vibrant tomorrow as they are today. Now, therefore, I, Carol Dodge, Mayor of the City of Northglenn, do hereby proclaim May 5th through May 11th, 2019 as National Small Business Week in the City of Northglenn, and encourage the community to join together in thanking Northglenn's small businesses for their many contributions to the quality of life in our community and the economic well-being of the city. Dated at Northglenn, Colorado, this 22nd day of April 2019. For you. All right, Debbie's receiving, she's staying here, she's getting 2 this evening. She is special. We are also acknowledging National Economic Development Week. Whereas economic development is a process that is strengthened by the critical partnerships between economic development professionals and local government leadership to promote a shared vision for developing resilient communities. And whereas economic developers stimulate and incubate entrepreneurism in order to help establish the next generation of new businesses, which is the hallmark of the American economy. And whereas economic developers promote economic well-being and quality of life for their communities by creating, retaining, and expanding jobs that facilitate growth, enhance wealth, and provide a stable tax base. And whereas economic developers nurture and develop vibrant communities and improve the quality of life in their regions. And whereas the City of Northglenn is dedicated to creating a vibrant, business-friendly atmosphere and economic development programs to support its businesses and the community. And whereas the nation, state, and City of Northglenn will be celebrating the efforts of economic developers during National Economic Development Week. A mouthful. Now, therefore, I, Carol Dodge, Mayor of the City of Northglenn, do hereby proclaim May 6th through May 11th, 2019 as National Economic Development Week in the City of Northglenn and remind individuals of the importance of this community celebration, which supports expanding career opportunities and improving quality of life. Dated at Northglenn, Colorado, this 22nd day of April 2019. But why don't you speak first?
Okay. Well, Debbie Tuttle, Economic Development Manager. I really want to thank the mayor, the city council, and the leadership and staff of the City of Northglenn because they are truly the leadership. They have the commitment and the dedication to not only economic development and making a vibrant community, but also to our small businesses and helping them grow and be successful. And again, they really have put a lot of efforts and they've taken a lot of stakeholders and moved them in the right direction. I think if everybody looks around over the last 8 years, there's been a lot of great changes, and that's all about economic development. It's about our businesses. I hope that first week in May, second week in May, that everybody will take the time to go into a Northglenn business and to please thank them for doing business here in Northglenn. And again, on behalf of the Economic Development Department and our small business community, thank you very much for all of your support. We really appreciate it.
And Debbie is passing off a lot of the credit to the city council and the city, but honestly, our small business success, Debbie has everything to do with the success of our small businesses. So we really appreciate the job that she does, so. Thanks, Debbie. Okay, Chief May, would you come forward? We are acknowledging next the National Law Enforcement Memorial Week and National Peace Officers Memorial Day. Hello.
Hi.
Whereas the President of the United States, Congress, and the General Assembly of the State of Colorado have designated May 15th as National Peace Officers Memorial Day and the week of May 12th through the 18th as National Law Enforcement Memorial Week. And whereas during Law Enforcement Memorial Week, and in particular on Peace Officers Memorial Day, we honor those officers who made the ultimate sacrifice while performing their sworn duty. And whereas since the first recorded death in 1791, more than 23,000 law enforcement officers in the United States have been killed in the line of duty. And whereas in 2018, 158 law enforcement officers were killed in the line of duty in the United States. 3 officers were killed in the line of duty in Colorado: Deputy Heath Gum of Adams County Sheriff's Office, Deputy Micah Flick of the El Paso County Sheriff's Office, and Sergeant Matthew Moreno of the Los Animas County Sheriff's Office. And whereas the city of Northglenn tragically lost one of their own officers, Corporal Edgar E.B. Raines, Jr., who was killed in the line of duty 35 years ago on May 30th, 1984. In honor of Corporal Raines and other fallen officers, a candlelight vigil will be held in E.B. Raines, Jr. Memorial Park on Thursday, May 16th, 2019. And whereas it is fitting and appropriate for all citizens to join together in commemorating police officers past and present, who by their faithful and loyal devotion to their responsibilities have rendered a dedicated service to their community, helping to preserve the rights and security of all citizens. Now, therefore, I, Carol Dodge, Mayor of the City of Northglenn, Colorado, do hereby proclaim May 12th through the 18th, 2019 as National Law Enforcement Memorial Week in the City of Northglenn, and call upon all citizens to observe this week with appropriate ceremonies and observances. I further proclaim May 15th, 2019 as National Peace Officers Memorial Day in the City of Northglenn, in honor of those law enforcement officers who through their courageous deeds have made the ultimate sacrifice in service to their community, dated at Northglenn, Colorado, this 22nd day of April 2019.
I would like, if I can invite all of you to come to our candlelight vigil on May 16th. It starts at 7 o'clock over at E.B. Raines. If you've never attended one, it'll bring a tear to your eye for sure. And it's just something that we can do for the families. We have several families that come who has lost an officer in the line of duty. So please come join us May 16th, 7 o'clock p.m. And thank you so much. It's a pleasure to serve the city of Northglenn.
Can't really look at where your head.
I'm not as tall as the other group. I should even get up a step.
You could. You both could. Well done.
I'm not shy.
Right on. Joyce? Or, excuse me, Councilwoman Downing and Council.
All right, so we're celebrating our 50th anniversary. I know we've said it a lot, but we are. And we are also, in conjunction with our 50th, we have a new resident recognition program. And this month we are recognizing 2 individuals. The first is going to be Pastor Kim Scadam. So if you would like to come forward, Mr. Scadam. Hello. Whereas whereas the City of Northglenn celebrates its 50th anniversary in 2019, and whereas the city is celebrating residents whose lives and deeds have positively affected the city and the lives of others. And whereas Pastor Kim Scadam serves the community as a volunteer and religious and cultural leader, and whereas Pastor Scadam has provided funds for many years to provide students at Northglenn High School access to activities and to offset their direct costs, and whereas Pastor Scadam leads large volunteer projects to serve all residents, and whereas Pastor Scadam and his family have hosted neighborhood block parties at their residence for many years during National Night Out, and whereas Pastor Scadam is a strong supporter of the Northglenn Bike Program. Now therefore I, Carol Dodge, Mayor of the City of Northglenn, Colorado, hereby congratulate Pastor Kim Scadam for being honored by fellow residents, City Council, and myself for his contributions to the City of Northglenn, dated at Northglenn, Colorado, this 22nd day of April 2019.
Wow, I'm honored. Well, this was quite a surprise when I got the email about coming. I didn't even know what it was really for, but I know 100 people that deserve it better, more than I do, and they live in my neighborhood, they work at the bike shop, they do services. I just wanted you and many, and honored to be so, a citizen of this great city, led by leaders that we elect and trust and have relationships with, and who are part of this community as well. And I'm proud to be I moved here in 1967. That was 5 years before I was born. And graduated from Northglenn High School, met my wife there, and raised our kids here. All of them graduated from Northglenn High School. It's just our community and our home. So I'm honored, and this is quite an honor. I'll put this in a frame and put it on the back window of my car. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Open it up.
Make sure that gets in there.
Is it upside down?
Perfect.
Yep. You want to make sure I get one more? Actually, 7 more. Good. Awesome.
Thank you.
Sorry, Where's Jerry Gavette hiding?
Right there.
There you go. How did I not see you right in front of me? I'm good. I'm going to read a proclamation that's all about you. Whereas the City of Northglenn celebrates its 50th anniversary in 2019, and whereas the city is celebrating residents whose lives and deeds have positively affected the city and the lives of others, and whereas Jerry Gavette has served on the Northglenn Urban Renewal Authority for more than 18 years, helping to improve business areas and assisting in redevelopment projects. And whereas Jerry also has volunteered his time by serving on the Historic Preservation Commission, the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, and the Water and Sanitation Board. And whereas Jerry has served on the Northglenn Community Foundation and the Northglenn Historic Preservation Foundation, and is a committed volunteer who offers his time freely to community gardens and building bikes for youth in need. And whereas Jerry is committed to working toward the preservation of Northglenn history while helping shape Northglenn's future. Now therefore I, Carol Dodge, Mayor of the City of Northglenn, Colorado, hereby congratulate you, Jerry Gavette, for being honored by fellow residents, City Council, and myself for your contributions to the City of Northglenn, dated at Northglenn, Colorado, this 22nd day of April 2019. Congratulations.
Well, I'm a person of few words, so I'm very honored to receive this, and thank you very much.
And I saw Jerry working out in the front of the Stonehawker House in the gardens this weekend, so he was out there doing his community service as always. I saw you out there in the garden.
This is my everyday neighborhood walker. I know I'm safe as long as I stay my. We got it down now.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. You guys can probably shut that light down too. Or it's just me, because I'm really hot. I can feel the heat coming off that thing.
To keep my jacket on.
All right.
Wait, don't go.
Oh, sure.
Now the good stuff starts.
You get your proclamations and then you leave.
That's right.
It's okay. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this evening. All right. We are moving to our presentations this evening. The first presentation is from the Northglenn Youth Commission, and they'll be giving us their quarterly report. Hi, would you introduce yourselves?
I'm Elizabeth Denici.
I'm Thomas Lovato.
We are members of the Northglenn Youth Commission, and we're here tonight to present our first quarter report. One of our first tasks this year was to compile our annual report. Each of us write sections of the report, contribute photos, and decide what we'd like to highlight. We are really proud of the report that we presented to you last month. It is always really exciting to look back on all that we got to do in the past year.
We have spent most of our meeting time during the last few months working on our Little Libraries project. We are able to confirm that 2 schools are committed to working with us, Northmore Elementary and Hillcrest Elementary. We also secured over $150 in donations from Home Depot and Lowe's. We were able to build 2 little libraries, and now we have a total of 3 that need to be installed. We are waiting for confirmation from Malley Drive Elementary, which we believe will be the recipient of the 3rd library.
In early March, we had the opportunity to review the schematic design for the new recreation center, senior center, and theater. We asked a lot of questions, and we really liked the track above the gym and the coffee bar in the senior center.
We have big plans for the second quarter, which include completing the Little Library project. We are currently working with the 3 elementary schools and city staff to coordinate the installation and dedication ceremony. Be on the lookout for the invitation to attend. We'd love to see you there.
As we have for the past several years, we will be planting the Veterans Memorial Flower Bed on Tuesday, May 21st. The bed is located at the west entrance of E.B. Raines Jr. Memorial Park, and it will be red, white, and blue.
Finally, we have 1 graduating senior this year, as well as 1 youth commissioner who will be taking a 1-year leave of absence. Once the Little Library project has wrapped up, we will work on doing some additional outreach to recruit a few new members.
Do you have any questions for us?
Helpful questions or comments? Becky?
For our residents, can you explain what the Little Library program is? Because some of them might not know.
It's sort of like a library, and it's on a post, and it's little.
But can they come and take a book, and should they give
They can take a book and leave a book,
The-
and it's a library.
And it's open to anybody,
Yeah,
right?
it's open to anybody in the neighborhood and the community, and the rule is just take a book, leave a book, and we hope that it works out well.
And that is the rule, right? You take a book and you leave a book at the same
Yeah.
time?
Yeah.
Awesome. And that's going to run through the summer?
Yes.
How many books are you starting with in those?
We have about, I think, 100 books per school that we're going to be donating, or per little library.
That is awesome.
That
Very
is
good.
awesome.
Very good.
That's a lot of books.
Yeah.
Great job. Thank you, and thank you for everything you do.
So I have a question for you guys, and one thing that we're looking at
as a city is around addressing the issue of teen vaping. And we have a study session coming up in June. And so my question to you guys, is that something that the Youth Commission would be interested in weighing in on? And what do you guys think about that?
Well, I think we sort of talked about the whole vaping thing last week, and we all sort of agreed that we would like to talk about the issue and everything. Yeah.
Great, because we definitely would appreciate your perspective. Seeing that you guys are young and you definitely know what's going on in your school. So, thank you.
Anyone else want to weigh in? No?
Good job.
Thank you very much. Great job as always. Okay, our next presentation is the Quarter 1 of 2019 Economic Development Report with Debbie Tuttle.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members. While this is warming up, I will give you a little bit of good news. I know you all know this, but for the audience and for our residents, we announced last week that we will be opening a new 55,000 square foot Harkins movie theater. It is a 12-screen luxury movie theater. It will be located where Bed Bath & Beyond and where Justice and the Old Navy was. And so you will be seeing construction going on with Bed Bath & Beyond moving in late summer, early fall. So they'll get their construction done, get moved in, and then we will start construction on the new theater, which we hope to open in late 2020, just in time, hopefully, for the December Christmas movies that are coming out. And it will have all the bells and whistles. So we're very, very pleased about that. It definitely will be what will help move that marketplace into the next direction, getting new tenants in there. And I'm looking here, Jonathan Perlmutter's here in the audience, and I'm sure he has memories of that theater. It was going to be a theater, if I am correct. So original space was going to be a theater, and it did not work out. So we finally got our theater here. So that's great news. I'm looking here for my presentation, and I'm not seeing it, so give me 1 second here.
Already.
So what we're reporting on this tonight is a quarter 1, and I don't know if that's on. That's maybe the problem. That's a problem. Turn it on. Technology here, right? So first quarter of this year, we had several ribbon cuttings, and of course, I think most of you were all at the ribbon cutting and grand opening for the Ralston House, as well as the grand opening for the Courts Theater, which is the Courts Theater, that's on my mind now, right? The Courts Sports Complex, which will be 31,500 square feet. It's a $4.7 million investment. That was Nura land. If you recall, there was a little building on there. Nura did take the building down, did the environmental cleanup, and now we have a proud new sports complex that'll be here at the end of fall. Quarter 1, 2019 businesses, a total of 25, new employees, 116, and the square footage of 47,242. Some of these numbers, I explained this at first quarter, can be a little bit deceiving because a lot of times the companies at the end of the year don't turn in their, if they're closing and or if they open. So some of those numbers are a little misconceiving, that 18 versus 25, so there's 25 there, 18 of those have closed, or 18 have closed, but part of those were only 6 of those were from this year. The rest of them were from last year when they turned in their paperwork. It's always hard to capture these, and the only way you can do it is once you've closed out that 2018 numbers, which we've already done, is to capture them into that next year. But it is correct in our database, so as you all know, we track all of their anniversaries, so it is the right anniversary for when they do start. Interesting, for quarter 1, you'll see that 52% of all of the new businesses that came in were either in the Marketplace or the Marketplace Annex. A lot of that had to do with Phoenix Salon, which 5 new businesses moved into the Phoenix Salon. We had their ribbon cutting last week. Really a great place. If you haven't been there, please visit there. Also, we had 3 new companies move into the Wells Fargo building and 2 into the Melody office. Interestingly enough, also, the Wells Fargo building, as you probably remember, about 2 years ago, NURA gave them an incentive to try to renovate the outside, put new parking lot, new signage, new lighting, do a lot of lobby improvements. And at that time, it was 61% vacant. It is now 100% leased. There isn't a space in that building. So that's a great news. Several of our businesses have expanded. Althouse Law, they were actually leasing space there over at 112th and Huron, and they actually bought one of the condos. So we're real pleased to announce that. Laundry Spot is over at the Huron Center. They're actually adding on 1,244 square feet to their existing. Car Toys, who's been here for eons, I think like 25 years, they're actually expanding another 3,000 square feet adjacent to their building. And then Smokers World, who is over in Malley Center, is actually opening up a second location here in Northglenn. SBDC, so Small Business Development Center, we work with them on a daily and weekly and monthly basis. They're a great support system to economic developers, not only here in the city, but throughout the state, as well as the nation. They helped last year 62 of our Northglenn businesses, and with 212 consulting sessions and 433 hours spent. So they did a lot of consulting work that's all free, classes, helping them. Some of the success stories are the courts actually went in there. Let's see, Second Time Sports, the Ruby Palestria. So a lot of businesses are going in there and getting help. They help them write business plans, they help them write marketing plans, they help them get to the next phase. So they are one of our partners, and we're pleased to work with them on a daily basis. Housing market, interesting too, where our housing market is. You'll see our median list price of $407,500. That has gone up just from quarter four, 18%. So we've seen a major increase in the cost of housing here. However, we're still the lowest in the Metro North area here. We saw a 25% decrease in the amount of houses that were in the inventory of marketing. So, I mean, there's only 16 on the market right now, or in quarter one, and the average day was 27. So you can see, if you're comparing pretty much everybody with the exception of Thornton, who had their average days on the market was 24, ours was 27. But Northglenn, for inventory, we had 16, and the rest of them, you can see Brighton was 250, Broomfield 158, Commerce City 97, Thornton 34, and 40 for Westminster. So we don't have many houses out there to purchase, and when we do, they're on the market for a very small time. Commercial rate, real estate, office, industrial, and retail. We saw a decrease in vacancy rates for office at 3.4. Industrial rate, we've been running at that 1% vacancy rate for industrial. I sure wish we had some more industrial buildings. And retail went up slightly. Unemployment rate, we're at 3.8 as of the end of February. We just got the numbers for March. It's at 3.7 for March. So when I had this report, we didn't have the new numbers. But you can see that we had a decrease from February or December and January as well. Economic development website activity, we continue to have a lot of activity on our economic development site. The majority of them are going to our new business announcements and to our Shop Northglenn, and that's where we want to send them. So we're real pleased with that. We're going to continue to increase the volume there as well as our social media. Is there any questions?
Questions?
Nope. Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Debbie.
Nice job, Debbie.
All right. We will move to public invited to be heard, limited to 5 minutes per speaker. Statements shall be related to city business and limited to matters of community interest. I do have 4 people who signed the sign-up sheet tonight. And I would ask, though, if you're here to speak at the public hearing, that you save your comments for the public hearings and not come forward at this time. So, Harold Reed. would you like to come forward? Good evening.
How are you today?
Very good. How about yourself?
Good. I'm the new owner of the Old Wagon Antique Mall. It's been 6 months now, and I have some issues with the vagrant people that are coming in the neighborhood over there. And I don't know if the community is, or if the council is aware of what's going on. I've been there 6 months. I've had 3 windows broken in on my business already. I've had them defecating in the back door. I've had them come in the place, use the restroom, sleeping, and dressed up. And I noticed that there's 5 empty businesses there. And my concern is that if I was to open a new business, I probably wouldn't open it there, because it is very concerning that you have this type of thing going on. I've already talked to a few people around the neighborhood, and they've all had similar problems. There's been a robbery, there's been other broken windows, and I feel like that we're kind of out there by ourselves, and there's nobody really there to help us do what we need to do to get this problem solved, because I can guarantee you, even the marketplace, there's a lot that goes on in that marketplace that people don't even know about. And if we can address this, why would I want to stay in this area as a business and have this type of problem? It's been going on for quite a while. So I just wanted the committee to realize that, you know, I'm a business, I support the community. It's been there for 11 years. You know, it has a lot of things going for it. And I hate to see me have to move out because I can't control the things around me. And that's where I'm hoping the community can come up and make some suggestions or do something. Now, I have contacted the police, and they're kind of iffy. I've had shoplifters, and they're usually gang members, so I'm kind of concerned about that too. So these are my concerns, and the police kind of say, well, not a lot we can do, which is probably true, because you can't do much with shoplifting, you know. I was hoping that someday that we can maybe open the communications with the police in that area. It would help a lot, because I don't see that. I've been there 6 months now, and I've never seen the policemen there, except for the time when they broke the windows, and then there was 8 policemen there. So I did see them when they were there, you know. But it's sad, because it could force a lot of these businesses from not coming into there. There's 5 businesses of mine in that development. It's on 106th and Melody Drive. And some of the vagrants are coming from the bus stop. It's the end of the bus stop. And that's where they're coming. They're coming from there. And they just come in, and a dollar store. One day there were some kids in my store, and I'll make it short. They're in my store. I think they shoplift there. I couldn't catch them. I have cameras, but I didn't catch them. So the next day I go over to the dollar store, and they're in there doing the same thing. You know, and it's just something I think really needs to be addressed. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Harold. So, Harold, I am definitely sorry that that's the experience that you're having there. I think that the city is aware that there are some issues in that area. I'm hoping that with some of the redevelopment that we have going on and bringing in some new businesses, that things start to change in the marketplace area. I think our police do a great job of community policing, and maybe I would ask Chief if you could get somebody to go over to his business and he could speak with them, or maybe you guys could have a private conversation outside the chambers this evening, because you have the police chief's ear tonight if you would like to talk to him. So, but we are aware of the situation, and I know we have to do something about it, because if it was my business, I would feel the same way that you do. So thank you for coming forward and expressing everything, though. Appreciate it. Is there a Sydney Lope?
Yes.
You're gonna have to pronounce it. I can't read your writing. How's that? I can't read your.
apologize for that.
You write like my husband. Lopatin, okay.
Okay. I own an auto upholstery shop called Mr. Sid's Fine Auto Upholstery. And
Where are you located?
right where Car Toys just moved
Okay.
into my building.
Okay.
Okay, but behind me, and they probably, I don't know why they're not here tonight, because they got the same problem I have. And that is, first of all, obviously, I have some homeless there. Last week, one walked up to me, wanted me to buy a joint from him from the pot shop. Okay? And they're all the time, at any given time, I can have $250,000, $500,000 worth of cars there, very special interest cars. But I got a worse problem. I got a squatter in my yard. Okay? The problem is when I got the building, even though my yard's included with the building, it was never put in writing, so I can't get rid of the squatter, and the landlord's too busy globetrotting. You know, he's never around. He has given him a notice to quit, but then didn't follow through. I have a junkyard in my yard you can't believe. I've seen rats run across it, junk cars all over the place, garbage all over the place. I was supposed to have open house 3 years ago, but I don't have use of my yard because of all the garbage. He was supposed to have 2 trucks and 2 trailers in exchange for doing the lawn for the building. Okay, that was the original agreement, and when I started seeing junk, I said, you cannot have a junkyard here. But I don't have the authority to tell him that. I've had the police over there. It was explained to me that squatters have rights. Well, he's not paying rent, and with utilities, I'm paying almost $7,000 a month. He needs to be gone. I need help. And that's the same thing as having vagrants. And I've seen him cooking in barbecue grills there among all that junk. One of these days, we're going to have a fire. I can't store my customers' cars in there. I got a motorhome of my own there and a sailboat. And I can't get rid of this guy. I need help.
When you say there's a lot of junk there, are you saying that the squatter, the person on your property, is bringing in the stuff to your property?
Come by and visit. You will be, you probably all know Dan Kelly. He's been trying to help me with this. He has all sorts of pictures of this garbage, this mess, you know? And
Have you reached out to the police department?
squatters have rights too.
Squatters, oh, that's what you did.
Yes, I have. Matter of fact, while the police were called and he was there, I was told squatters have rights too. There's nothing they can do. And the only thing they did for me is he wanted to use my bathroom, and the police said no. That they did do for me. And it's horrible. I need help.
Sounds like we're ready for some type of intervention in a community meeting over in your area of the businesses maybe, so everybody can vent. What do you think? I think it's a great idea.
Well, in this case, I'm really, Car Toys was invited tonight, and they're not here. Because they had some problems with them. The pot shops had problems with them. At one point, he was doing his job. He was busy blowing the parking lot. I have a 1955 Chevy Bel Air out there with probably a $30,000 paint job, and says, you can't blow that around here. He says, oh, it's not hurting the paint. Probably a $30,000 paint job. You know, I have a 1961 Bel Air bubble top right there, probably worth $200,000 right now. Come visit this shop. You'll love it.
I will come visit your shop.
Yeah.
I'm going to say the same thing. I wouldn't want to have my business and have those issues that you're having, so I feel your pain, and I think that we'll have Chief maybe address something. Is everyone here to speak tonight from that area, business from that area? I've got Matthew and Colby that are also signed up. Yes, ma'am. Are you both here to speak about that area also? Okay, so maybe, Chief, after they speak, you could address some of the issues, and that would be helpful.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Matthew is next on the list.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening.
And City Council. My name is Matthew Orley. I have a residence in that area across from the marketplace. I'm just north of Wells Fargo. I live at 533 Kennedy Drive. That's on Kennedy Drive between Melody and Huron Street. And it somewhat concerns the same issues. I also have a petition that I brought in tonight that we have about 40-plus signatures on it in that same general area concerning the same situation. So I was going to see if I could get a copy of it. You have my original? Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I'm going to read from it. What we're asking is a petition to enforce loitering laws through the Northglenn Police Department and Transit Authority. And this concerns 106th, we feel, the 106th Avenue between between Melody and Huron Drive. So petition summary and background. This petition has been created to inform City Council about negative events that have transpired in our community. Example, indecent exposure by urinating by the preschool. Business owners have concerns about vandals, smash and grabs. Citizens have been harassed, and there has been reports of assaults. And then action petition that we're looking for is we, the undersigned, are concerned citizens who urge our leaders to act to enforce regulations concerning vagrancy in and around the bus depot at 106th and Melody Drive. And I think the only thing else I'll add here, I had my friend Colby do most of this, but I'll just give you my own personal experiences. It won't take a minute. I only got 3 of them, really. So at one point, I was taking my mom out to eat, and there's somebody hanging around the church across the street, and I went out to eat, and he tried to break into my white car because my friend happened to be at the house at that time, so I had that right there at my residence. I also one time went over to the 7-Eleven at 104th and Melody. I was walking out of it on a Sunday afternoon, and somebody was just standing there, so I said hi, and then probably was homeless, and he wanted to argue with me about don't talk to me, and I didn't want to respond to him, and then he threatened to vandalize my car if I left it outside. And then a couple of weeks ago, I was walking from my house, and I was walking across in front of the Dollar Tree onto 106, and I was going to walk up to Huron Street, and I had on my trench coat and my fedora, and I just had on my jeans and my tennis shoes. And I was walking by him. It was near dark, and this guy was waiting for the bus, and he came off. He had one of those large radios with him, and he jumped right off and ran right up next to me and was walking right with me as I walked up the street. So I wanted to mention those incidences also. And I think that pretty much wraps up what I had to say about it.
Okay. How many signatures did you get on your petition?
We got 40-something plus, I think, when we counted them up.
Is it mostly residents, or did you get?
No,
residents
it's
and-
mostly the businesses.
The businesses, okay.
Yeah, because we did just get this, look for signatures on my street. I got a neighbor a couple of streets up, that's it, as far as that goes. But it's mostly the businesses right there in that area.
Okay. All right. Yes.
One thing I didn't mention, I'm one of the signatures on here. That man's also living in that yard. He made himself a makeshift hut, shed, or living area. Whatever he's wanted there.
Is that the same man that?
No, I doubt that.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, council.
Colby, did you want to come forward also? Okay, come on up.
Hi, how you doing?
Good, how are you doing?
I'm all right.
Okay. What is your last name, Colby?
Madurkai.
Okay. Why don't you tell us what your story is?
Well, that's the thing. I don't know where to start. Well, between Cheech and Chong smoking weed on one corner and one guy ODing on heroin on the other corner, and the guy that inspired the movie Heat is trying to hold up the bus, one of the buses for a transfer. I don't know where to start, but I'll start here. I'm originally from original Thornton, Ward 1. We had a lot of the same issues that we have here at the bus stop, and with a lot of those people that came over here to share their concerns and their issues. We had, graffiti issues. We had the graffiti task force. We did, the speed awareness program with people going up and down the streets, racing at 60 to 70 miles an hour. We got speed bumps put in, so there can be, stuff can be done. The problem is I got in 2 fights coming home from work with 2 meth heads. One of them thinking I was talking to him. He was a mile away talking to himself, came up, we got in a fight. And one guy accusing me that my phone I just bought, I took from him. So he reached in, took it out of my pocket. Cops were called. Everything was taken care of. We got a registered sex offender that hangs out at that bus stop urinating, trying to talk to the little kids. There's 2 daycares over there. There's one over there by my buddy Matt's house, the new one that just opened up. Then he hangs out around there, and he hangs around the old one over there, right, right behind these apartments, and right behind the business, Hal's business, the Wagon Antiques. I've called the cops all the time. They show up, but the problem is we need to do something about that because there's more and more coming all the time. They're rubbing feces all over the shop windows on Dollar Tree. The young girls that when I went around collecting the signatures, they say, well, we're too scared to go out to our cars at night because we're scared that these guys are going to come out and, rape one of the girls. It already happened one time in Thornton over there at that family Walmart off 88th, the one where 88th and Washington, where there was already an assault there. So the girls are scared of, something like that happening to them. I had my stuff stolen from my buddy's car. I put the stuff out. He's got a 91-year-old mother. It was just me and him. He went to I get out of the house, help her walk in. She's a diabetic. She's got heart issues. So Matt comes in after he parks his car. When I come back out to get my stuff, well, it's gone. Come to find out they caught the meth head. He was a meth head. He was looking for 3 days. He was plotting on taking my stuff. And he did. Well, I took care of that too. The cops came. You got a guy, drinking beer, hanging out with the meth heads and the homeless. One minute he's cool, and the other thing he's like a Manchurian candidate, just wakes up in this trance, goes up to the bus, puts on a ski mask, puts a gun to the bus driver's head and says, well, if you don't give me a transfer, I'm going to blow your brains out. Well, he got taken care of. But it just keeps going on and on. I hear you telling Sid that, with the new businesses and the movie theaters that are going to open up, things might change. Well, the Thornton on 100th and Grant, after that shooting, they lost a lot of business. That's why everyone that used to shop there is going up north because they're scared of something else going to happen. So I think opening up new businesses isn't going to happen. You got to fix the problem. You see what I'm saying? It's a tumor, and if you don't cut the tumor out at an early stage, it's going to grow and it's going to kill, and it's going to kill all your businesses, and then you guys are going to lose money. So it keeps getting worse and worse. We had one person commit suicide at the bus stop. The other one overdosed on pills. So there was like 2 suicides, a hanging, I believe, over there by the bingo. Guy hung himself there a few months ago, and things just keep getting worse. And one night I was at my buddy Matt's house. At 2 a.m, listening to music. I hear this knocking on the door. I'm thinking, well, it's probably the TV or something. So I turn everything off and I go back to bed. 20 minutes of somebody trying to break in the door, right? When I go up there, it stops. 5 minutes, I stay there. Then I go back down, it picks up again. It lasts about another 15 minutes. I say, hey, who's that? And he says, hey, I want to see my girlfriend, Diana. Well, there's no girl here, Diana. But I'm going to call the cops if you don't leave. And he just walked away. Now, this is 2 a.m. So, the list goes on. I'd have to sit down, write, take 2 days to write the whole thing. But, if you're a screenwriter and you couldn't think of an idea for a movie, we'll just sit at the bus stop. You'll have a whole bunch of movies,
Are you a resident there?
Yeah, I was. I lived there for a few months. I rented at Matt's house.
Where is that at?
533 Kennedy. Yeah,
Kennedy.
533
Okay.
Kennedy Drive. Yes.
Right.
Like I said, I'm originally from Thornton, but I talked to a lot of people. They said, "Well, it can't be done. It can't be done." Well, I've been through stuff like this, especially I ran for city council for Ward 1, and I've been a part and helped with council in Thornton to take care of some issues. We had the Thornton Focus Group. you know, things can get done, and I've seen things get done, it's just doing them, you see, because if you talk about opening up a new movie theater, opening up this business, it's not gonna happen. As soon as the people see that, they're not gonna come, because they're gonna think, well, what, am I gonna get raped? Am I gonna get shot? Am I gonna get, is my car gonna get vandalized? You see what I'm saying?
Right. So I totally agree with your take on it, and hearing so many stories tonight that, I mean, I knew that there were issues over there, but not quite so many. Definitely that I understand your take on the businesses. You're not going to be able to keep a business going if that's going on in the area. So I'm going to stick with what I said about getting everybody together and having a community chat about that area. And I'm sure the city manager will follow through on this. It goes deeper than what you're talking about, because almost every issue you talked about was some type of opioid, meth, whatever. So substance addiction is huge. The homeless problem is huge. It's not just here. We're doing a little bit to address it, but we probably need to do more. So I definitely feel for all of you over there, and I'm kind of hoping that maybe our chief can shed some light on what we've been doing in that area, so.
Well, one more thing, what about the children, though? I mean, these guys are coming out, I mean, it's not just that one guy, there's other, like I said, the list goes on. I mean, one of the real quick, the daycare that's the oldest, the one that's been there the longest, I brought this up, they didn't want to sign anything, but they didn't want to get in, they were scared of something about retaliation, I don't know, but they were scared to sign it. The lady said, yeah, I know that guy. So they know it, and he makes himself known. Well, he's a sex offender, obviously, he knows what he's doing. You know, one time there's a lady who's a regular at that bus stop, drunk, has her pants and her underwear down to her ankles, squatting, you know, peeing, and then she's too drunk to get up and falls over with her pants down. You know, moms and dads that drive up in that back alley to pick up their kids, well, the kids see that and they ask questions, well, what's going on? So my concern more is the children, so.
I appreciate your time tonight.
Yeah.
I'm sorry but I have to limit you
That's
on
fine.
your speaking time, but everything that you've said is important, and we hear you, and Heather, would you like to say something?
Thank you, Mayor Dodge. I'm sorry to hear of the significant issues that all of you are dealing with. I was also aware of issues, but not to this extent, which is not to minimize the issues I was aware of. It's unacceptable, so Chief May and I will, Chief May I know has collected a few business cards. If you can connect with him, and then we'll reach out to you and sit down and figure out how we can move forward.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming forward this evening. We appreciate all of you. Chief, would you like to come forward and share a few words, maybe?
Right down there at that bus stop, 106, we've had a lot of calls, for sure. The night I rode, that we made 4 arrests in like 5 minutes. So we have, you know, I know the gentleman hasn't, you know, said he physically saw officers down there, but we do patrol that area. During the Christmas time, we did the marketplace impact. So I think it's working with RTD, trying to figure out that mess there of the vagrancy that's happening in that area. And it's just increasing, you know, the patrol and the impact. So the squatter, I have to look into that, see what's going on there. You don't own that building, correct?
I do not own that building.
So the owner of that building, so we'll have to figure out how to deal with that issue. So I know Dan, we're longtime friends, so I'll get with him and see what he's collecting, see what kind of game plan we can come up on that as well, so.
Okay.
And I'll work with the owners and the residents, and we'll see if we can make a good impact down there. So,
Thank you.
okay?
So I just hope that you guys don't think that it's just lip service from us, because I don't want it to be that. I want it to be a collaborative effort between the city and all of you in figuring out what we can and can't do there, and, you know, the police department. So we definitely will be reaching out to you and see where we can move forward from here. Okay, thank you. That is all that were signed up to speak this evening, so we will move to the Legislative Policy Committee update. Jenny or Julie?
I'll actually do it tonight. So it was a really quick meeting for us. So session is winding down. It ends May 3rd. And so we actually didn't take any additional positions on any bills, although there still
moving through. So at this point, we really just want to sit back and see how the rest of the session goes through. And then we're hoping to have our lobbyist, Jeff, come back perhaps in June-ish. We're going to schedule some time to do a session wrap-up for council and just an overview of what's going on. Other than that, we don't have another meeting planned for quite some time. We're going to take a little bit of a break. There's a lot going on this session, and then we'll ramp it back up when probably come in the fall. Great, thanks.
Thank you very much. We will move to the consent agenda. Move to approve.
Second.
Joanna, would you open the vote, please?
The vote is open.
Please vote.
I'll close that vote, and the consent agenda passes unanimously.
Thank you. We have 2 public hearings this evening. And Joanna, would you read the title of the first public hearing?
So it's on CB 1925, a bill for a special ordinance rezoning from PD Plan Development to MC Mixed Use Corridor, certain real property known as the Northglenn Civic Campus property, City of Northglenn, County of Adams, State of Colorado, and amending the zoning map of the City of Northglenn.
Thank you. I will now open the public hearing on the application for the rezoning of the Northglenn Civic Campus property from planned development to mixed-use corridor. The Northglenn City Council has jurisdiction to conduct this hearing under the applicable provisions of its Home Rule Charter and Chapters 3 and 11 of the Northglenn Municipal Code. The procedure to be followed in this case will be as follows. City staff will give a brief outline of the nature of the application. The applicant may then present any evidence in support of the application. All persons opposed to the application shall then be entitled to present evidence. Any other interested persons shall be entitled to present public comment or evidence. The applicant may then present any rebuttal evidence. Council members may ask questions of the staff, the applicant, and the public who testify. All witnesses will be placed under oath by the city clerk and may be cross-examined by any party, counsel for any party, or the members of the city council. Are there any objections to the jurisdiction of the city council or to the form or substance of these proceedings? Hearing none, staff, you may proceed. And Becky Smith is coming forward. Hi, Becky.
Should get warmed up.
All right, thank you. Good evening, Mayor, council members. Becky Smith with the Planning Department here to present the Civic Center property rezone to mixed-use corridor, case number 19-02. The applicant in this case is the City of Northglenn, and they're applying to rezone the 20.59 acre parcel that is currently our Civic Campus from PD, planned development, to mixed-use corridor, MC district, in order to facilitate the future development of the property in accordance with the Civic Campus Master Plan. This is just a vicinity map that shows the location of the property in the context of the greater city. And this just dials it down a little bit and provides an aerial of the areas directly around it as well. A little bit of site data, as I mentioned, it's a 20.59 acre site that houses both the city's City Hall, a former police station, as well as the Recreation Center, Senior Center, and Theater. It's currently part of the Webster Lake Promenade subdivision, Block 1, Lot 8, and will be re-subdivided in the future as part of a site plan development. As mentioned, there are 2 structures on the site, both City Hall and the former police station, as well as the Senior Center and Theater. They both have associated parking with it. There are 4 accesses from Community Center Drive, 2 to each of the buildings. The site is south of Ramada Hotel and Webster Lake Promenade, and just west of E.B. Raines Park, east of I-25. There is some vacant and unimproved land just to the west of the City Hall parking lot, and so that's where some of the development would be looked at in the future. This is just a zoning map of the area. Currently, as mentioned, the site is PD. It was zoned PD with the Webster Lake Promenade. The Ramada to the north is zoned commercial. To the south is Stone Mountain, and that's zoned PD. To the west is I-25, and the east is open space, the E.B. Rains Park. Notification was performed in accordance with the requirements in Section 11.6.3E of the Unified Development Ordinance. And so we'll get into a little bit of case analysis. This is just a rezoning case, so there is not a site plan associated with it at this point. For the case analysis, staff did look to the comprehensive plan and the policies outlined in that. There are several policies within the comp plan that support this rezoning, including diversifying housing stock and encouraging the development of new housing products in Northglenn. Where applicable, encouraging the mixing of housing and commercial uses. Recognizing the transportation and land use connection with regard to new housing developments. Creating a more diversified and well-balanced economic base. Further enhancing and solidifying the retail sales tax base in the city. Enhancing the appearance and image of the city to attract new businesses. Encouraging the redevelopment of underutilized or vacant parcels or properties. And continuing to provide citizens of Northglenn with the highest level of public services and facilities the city can support. In addition to the comprehensive plan, the city did adopt the Civic Center Master Plan in 2017, which also highlighted several goals that were very specific to the site, including enhancing stronger community identity, integrating a vibrant mix of land use, evaluating the best location of municipal facilities, providing public gathering spaces, leveraging the success of adjacent developments, and strengthening connections of the community. The existing Civic Center property is zoned planned development. The rezoning to mixed-use commercial would facilitate the flexibility of land uses and the zoning standards to accommodate the Civic Center Master Plan. The UDO has a new zone district called mixed-use commercial. If the rezoning is approved tonight, it would have to, future development would look to this purpose statement for mixed-use corridor, as well as the development standards, and have to comply with these. The statement is that mixed corridor district is intended to accommodate mixed-use development with walkable active streetscapes. Uses in mixed-use corridor district are typically lighter intensity commercial with limited auto-oriented uses that are compatible with surrounding residential neighborhoods. Residential uses in MC district are intended to offer a diversity of attached housing types at varying densities. Staff has included in, as an attachment to council's memo, the Planning Commission presentation, and on pages 3 and 4 of the PC, or Planning Commission staff report, is a more detailed analysis of how staff finds that this request meets the policies outlined in both the comprehensive plan as well as the Civic Center Master Plan. Planning Commission reviewed this request and conducted a public hearing at their April 16th, 2019 meeting, and they voted unanimously to recommend approval to City Council for the rezoning to mixed-use corridor. Staff recommends that City Council approve CB 1925, which is an ordinance rezoning the property to mixed-use corridor to facilitate future development of this site. Section 11.6.4A of the UDO does require that this proposal comply with the criteria. Page 5 of the Planning Commission staff report does provide analysis of how staff finds the proposed rezoning complies with the criteria as well as the comprehensive plan. Council's options tonight are to approve the request with or without conditions or stipulations, deny the request for reasons stated, or table the request for further consideration or additional information. Future site plan and subdivision platting will be required before the site can be developed. Planning Commission is the final approving body for site plan review and minor subdivisions. City Council is the final approval for preliminary and final plating, as well as any requests requiring public infrastructure or subdivision improvement agreements. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions for staff. I also have Eric Enzi here, senior planner in my department, but acting as the owner's representative on behalf of the city here tonight as well. So,
Thank you. Are there any questions at this point? None? Okay, thank you, Becky. Since this city is the owner of the property, do we have the applicant, as the applicant, is Eric going to come forward?
If you have any questions for him, certainly.
Okay. Does anyone have questions for Eric? It doesn't sound, I don't think so. Okay, we'll move to the next step. Sorry, Eric. You can be seated. All persons opposed to the application are now entitled to present evidence. Is there anyone opposed? All right, no one. Anyone interested to present, any other interested parties to present public comment or evidence? Anyone else would like to speak? We don't need to rebut. So, council members, there's no questions. I would say I am closing the public hearing. All right. We will move to our next public hearing. Joanna, would you read the title, please?
This is on CB 1926, a bill for a special ordinance rezoning from AG agricultural to MC mixed-use corridor, certain real property known as the Station Village property, City of Northglenn, County of Adams, State of Colorado, and amending the zoning map of the City of Northglenn.
Thank you. I will now open the public hearing on the application for the rezoning of the Station Village property from agricultural to mixed-use corridor. The Northglenn City Council has jurisdiction to conduct this hearing under the applicable provisions of its Home Rule Charter and Chapters 3 and 11 of the Northglenn Municipal Code. The procedure to be followed in this case will be as follows. City staff will give a brief outline of the nature of the application. The applicant may then present any evidence in support of the application. All persons opposed to the application shall then be entitled to present evidence. Any other interested persons shall be entitled to present public comment or evidence. The applicant may then present any rebuttal evidence. Council members may ask questions of the staff, the applicant, and the public who testify. All witnesses will be placed under oath by the city clerk and may be cross-examined by any party, counsel for any party, or the members of the city council. Are there any objections to the jurisdiction of the city council or to the form or substance of these proceedings? Hearing none, staff may give a brief outline. Becky?
thank you. Becky Smith with the Planning Department, again, to present on this time Station Village rezone to mixed-use corridor, case number 1903. The applicant in this case is Station Village LLC, and they are requesting a rezone from agriculture to mixed-use corridor to facilitate the future development of the 5.4-acre site just south of the RTD N-Line commuter rail station. This is a vicinity map of where it's located within the greater context of the city. A more dialed-in aerial showing the site and the directly surrounding areas. Just a little bit of site information. This property has not been platted yet within the city, so they will need to plat it at the time of site plan review. It's just on the northwest corner of 112th and York Street, currently zoned agriculture, and it's a vacant site that has never been developed. Some of the site characteristics, in addition to being just south of the RTD station, a portion of the property is located in the Grange Hall Creek floodway, and it will require a conditional letter of map revision or a CLOMAR prior to development of the site. Some of the zoning characteristics of the area. The site to the north, the RTD station, is zoned PD, as well as Fox Run, which is a residential neighborhood to the south. To the west is a established single-family residential neighborhood. Directly to the west is the RTD tracks. And then to the east is actually the city of Thornton, and that's currently undeveloped vacant land. Notification was performed in accordance with the requirements of Section 1163E of the Unified Development Ordinance. And just to get into some of the case analysis, again, we reviewed this request with the city's comprehensive plan just to make sure that the policies were lining up. And diversifying housing stock and encouraging development of new housing products in Northglenn. Where applicable, encourage the mixing of housing with commercial uses to provide greater proximity to goods, services, and transportation access. Recognize the transportation land use connection with regard to new housing developments and redevelopments within the city. Create a more diversified and well-balanced economic base. Further enhance and solidify the retail sales tax base for the city. Enhance the appearance and the image of the city to attract new businesses, and leverage RTD's regional investment in Fast Tracks project to provide greater transportation choices to our citizens. In addition to the comprehensive plan, the city did also adopt the 112th Station Area Master Plan as an amendment to the comp plan. That plan identifies more specific goals for the half-mile and 1-mile radius around the station. Some of them are more specific to this site. The guiding principles of that plan were to diversify the housing and retail, build transit-supported mixed-use development, and create a sense of place. Some of the key goals were to provide good access to the station from the surrounding established neighborhoods, ensure good transition of existing industrial properties along 112th Avenue, develop a strategy for this site to create opportunities, focus on the creation of a sense of place, examine our current land use policies to foster high-quality development and active and vital neighborhoods, understand the future market demands for development and conditions that may foster transit-oriented development, build community consensus around long-term vision for the station area, and promote a mix of housing types with higher densities located closer to the station. The rezoning to mixed-use corridor does allow the flexibility of land uses and the performance standards that would facilitate a higher density residential development with the possibility of some commercial on this site, as the Station Area Master Plan shows. Again, this is the purpose statement and the performance standards that this site would be subject to if the rezoning is passed. I'll just again read the purpose statement. The mixed-use corridor district is intended to accommodate mixed-use development with walkable, active streetscapes. Uses in the MC district are typically lighter intensity commercial with limited auto-oriented uses that are compatible with surrounding residential neighborhoods. Residential uses in the MC district are intended to offer diversity of attached housing types at varying densities. So site plan in the future will have to comply with these standards. Staff has also included the Planning Commission staff report within the packet this evening. Again, pages 3 and 4 of the staff report provide a more detailed analysis of how the rezoning request meets the policies outlined in the comprehensive plan and the 112th Station Master Plan. The Planning Commission did review this request and conducted a public hearing at their April 16th, 2019 meeting. They voted unanimously to recommend approval of this request to rezone to mixed-use corridor. I do want to mention at this point that we did receive public testimony at that meeting from residents that weren't in favor or opposed to the development, but did raise some concerns about drainage in that area, living directly to the west. I did reach out to our Public Works Department, and with the site plan review process, they will submit a drainage report. They are required to mitigate all of their impacts of increased impervious space for this project. They are not required to improve off-site properties, but they cannot make it any worse. So, with that, staff does recommend City Council approval of CB 1925, which is an ordinance rezoning the property to MC, mixed-use corridor, to facilitate the future development of this 5.4-acre site. The section 1164A of the UDO does require that this proposal comply with the criteria. On page 5 of the Planning Commission staff report, staff does an analysis on how this proposal does comply with the criteria outlined in the UDO, as well as the comprehensive plan. Council's options tonight are to approve the request with or without stipulations or conditions, deny the request for reasons stated, or table the request for further consideration and additional information. The next steps for this site are that future site plan and subdivision would be submitted for review. Planning Commission is the final reviewing body for development plans and minor subdivisions. City Council would be final approval for preliminary or final plating, or for any requests that require public infrastructure or subdivision improvement agreements. I am happy to answer any questions at this point. The applicant is also here and has a brief presentation they would like to give you.
Are there questions for Becky at this point? None? Thank you very much, Becky. Hi. You
Hi
are
there.
the applicant. I believe you have to be sworn in by our city clerk this evening. Is there anyone else who is going to testify this evening? You could all be sworn in at the same time. You want to stand? No? Just, okay.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. My name is David Struva, and I'm here on behalf of Station Village. And I want to say thank you for having us here tonight, Honorable Mayor and Council. And so we're kind of excited to share our vision of what we anticipate doing with this 5.4 acre parcel. Man, my eyes are getting bad. So as far as partners go, it's Jules Devine, who's sitting here to my left, myself, and our partner, Jacob. He's not here tonight. As far as our development design team, our civil engineers is TJC. Our architect is Neo Studio. Michael, he's here. Landscape architect is JB Fieldworks, and Divine Developing will be our contractor. And we are asking to rezone the 5.4 acre parcel that is sitting on the corner of 112th and York, right next to where the 112th station will be. Regarding what has changed over the many years, of course, the material change is RTD building the N line. As I was going to work out this morning, I heard some great news that after 18 months of delays, RTD said they started testing the N line today. So, they anticipate that being up and running by the end of this year. Right now, there's 13 and a half miles done. I think it ends at 124th, going through, of course, Commerce City, Thornton, Northglenn. Eventually, it's going to end up in Adams County. To the right is just a more comprehensive plan or map showing what RTD has done. Regarding the comprehensive plan of Northglenn, it shows you where our site is. And to the right, just a little bit more detail across York is Carlson. I think they've got about 95 acres that will eventually be developed into some master plan as well. Regarding our project vision, we've got 7 buildings on the site, and we plan to have studios 1s and 2s as our unit size mix. Hearing tonight from the economic development, clearly there's a need for multifamily housing development within the community, the increase in businesses coming here and additional jobs as well. And just the population growth is going to there will be a need to develop more housing within the community. The demographic that we're really kind of going after as far as age bracket is between 20 and 49. It kind of makes up the chunk as well of the main age bracket here in Northglenn. Regarding does it fit within the comprehensive plan as outlined from what Becky shared, we feel it clearly does. It does call for more high-density, high-quality type developments and a mixed-use component with retail as well that we are planning on putting in. This is our site plan showing the layout currently. You do see the improvement that we will have to do to the Grange Hall Creek with 3 drop structures. It's a substantial improvement from what is currently there actually. And then just some high-end renderings of the project, that, and of course, the interior of what we anticipate developing. Any questions?
Questions?
I think the questions might not be for you, actually. I think I'm just wondering about the consideration of the shift in traffic. That's a lot of people on a very small intersection competing.
We have done a traffic study.
Okay.
Yeah. And based on the consultant who did the traffic study, he said there would be no material impact overall to the flow of traffic, and we will be providing all that detail as well.
That seems surprising. It's already really congested, I guess, is why I'm wondering.
Yeah, I read through the whole report, and I didn't see anything that,
As part of the site plan review, they will submit to our engineering department a traffic study that the engineering department will review and approve, along with any necessary improvements to the area to help traffic flow if it's determined necessary at that time.
So
and as well, York will be improved.
Okay.
York Street, it is moving west by, I don't know, 5 to 7 feet, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So one of the things I'm wondering is, and you're there all the time too, is my understanding is that 112 is being expanded. I don't, Brooke's not here, but, and so it's gonna go from 2 lanes down to 1 right at that intersection, or right before it. And so it's naturally gonna get congested more than it is. So I'm just wondering.
Yeah, and I
Something to
live in
think
that
about.
area. I echo her concerns because I'm sorry that I don't really believe in the traffic studies because I hear about them all the time. And
Like that guy
after the
doesn't-
fact, when the thing gets built, I go, really? You said this wasn't going to happen, and you say there's only this many cars, and I don't hold much faith in them. But York Street is still going to be a 2-way, 1 lane each side, right?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, so that's not doing much for York Street. And then we're going to have 112th on our side. That's only going to be the 2 lanes. Up, when it goes into Thornton, it will go into 4 lanes. Yes?
Well, no, I think the next steps portion of staff's presentation is important because the next steps are site plan and subdivision. If there are improvements to infrastructure that are required as a condition of this project, that happens at subdivision.
And we know that you don't want us to go into the weeds like this, but I think these are some questions that we can ask at this point if we want to. I know that we're just
It's
doing
not
the
part of your
rezoning.
criteria for rezoning, though.
Right, it's not.
Okay.
Yeah, we understand that, but I
Okay.
think it's just the questioning. So yeah, I guess how many units will there be in the 7 buildings? And then what would the or you're not that far yet?
No, we are.
Oh, how many parking spaces?
Parking spaces, we're at 323 parking spaces. Most of the parking is underneath the buildings, and then we do have surface as well for parking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just that there's a concern there from the people who already live
Sure.
in a very congested area.
And it is right next to the RT. I mean, we anticipate a lot of people using that transit system.
Right.
But then again, as you said, we're going off of consultants doing parking studies and anticipating what might be.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's just a concern for the
Yeah.
future, and I understand that there's growing pains that come along with a development
Yes.
like this. I mean, it looks like a great development, so it's not that, it's just that we wonder what we who already live there are going to have to deal with the new construction, that's all. So, are there any other questions from council? Julie?
I have a question, it's probably more for Becky. Do you have any idea how big that park and ride is gonna be that RTD is proposing? Is it a garage or is it just like a parking lot like Wagon?
It's going to be just a parking lot. It's a kiss and go, and I believe there's 230 or 280, and we can check that exact number of parking
Okay.
spaces that will be there.
Okay, thank you.
Becky?
Did you ever address how many places would be there?
Condos or
Yeah.
apartments?
I don't know what to call them yet.
Roughly 250 to 280. So they're either 4/1s, which is a 5-story building, or 3/1s, The height in the MC is 60 feet.
Right.
Any other questions from council? None? Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Are there any persons opposed to the application that would like to present evidence? Is there anyone else that would like to speak on this at all this evening? Okay. Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing, and we will move to ordinances, second reading. Joanna, would you read the title of CB 1925, please?
A bill for a special ordinance rezoning from PD Planned Development to MC Mixed-Use Corridor, certain real property known as the Northglenn Civic Campus property, City of Northglenn, County of Adams, State of Colorado, and amending the zoning map of the City of Northglenn.
Move for approval. Second. Heather, did you want to make any statements? or
There's nothing additional, Mayor
Okay.
Dodge.
Council have any other comments on this? No? Joanna, would you open the vote, please?
The vote is open.
Please vote.
I'll close that vote, and CB 1925 on second reading passes unanimously.
Thank you very much. And then we move to CB 1926. Joanna, we read the title of that again, please?
A bill for a special ordinance rezoning from AG Agricultural to MC Mixed-Use Corridor, certain real property known as the Station Village property, City of Northglenn, County of Adams, State of Colorado, and amending the zoning map of the City of Northglenn.
Move for approval.
Second.
Okay. Any
Nothing
comment?
additional,
Nothing?
Mayor Dodge.
Okay. Joanna, would you open the vote, please?
Vote is open.
Please vote.
I'll close that vote, and CB 1926 on second reading passes unanimously.
Thank you. Thank you for coming forward in support of your application this evening. Thank you. We look forward to seeing what you're going to bring there. All right, we will move to resolutions this evening, CR 14. Joanna, would you read the title, please?
A resolution approving a letter of commitment regarding participation in the Colorado Legal Services Pilot Program.
Move for approval. Second. Thank you. Heather?
Thank you, Mayor Dodge, members of council. This item I originally brought forward to you with a request to join an existing IGA back in January earlier this year. Unfortunately, based on the way the IGA is written, it would require for Northglenn to join the IGA that each entity that was a party to the IGA approve adding Northglenn. And so I've been working with John Asher with Colorado Legal Services, and we've developed a.
Heather, I'm going to ask that you just hold on just a minute.
No, that's Thank you.
Thank you, Heather.
Did you want me to repeat any?
I do.
Yeah,
Okay,
yes,
sure,
yes.
sure, not a problem. We'll see how close I get. So back in January, I brought forward a discussion item to get council's consensus to join an existing IGA with the entities listed in the staff memorandum. Unfortunately, after I received consensus, we were told that in order to join the IGA, each IGA party would have to approve adding Northglenn, and there was concern surrounding that. So what was suggested to me is that I work with John Asher, the Executive Director of Colorado Legal Services, and we develop a letter of commitment, which is included in your packet. And that letter of commitment is written as such that Colorado Legal Services will honor the IGA criteria that's set forth that the other parties are adhering to. And with that comes a 2-year financial commitment. Our recommended amount is $12,000 per year, so that would be using unbudgeted funds for this year, and then we would budget the funding for next year. Currently, to date, Colorado Legal Services has been working with 11 individuals who have sought representation from CLS. This information was just provided to me late last week, so that's why it's not in your packet. And that's from the time frame of 12/1/2018 to March 31st, 2019. So they have had program utilization. Fortunately, because the city council had expressed a desire to become a party to the IGA, we were able to be included in the marketing materials that you see included in your packet. both in English and Spanish. And so we've been able to push that information out there. If council approves this item tonight, we will put information on our website.
All right, thank you. Questions or comments? None? Hearing none. Joanna, would you open the vote, please?
The vote is open.
Please vote.
I'll close that vote, and CR 14 passes unanimously.
Thank you. We will move to CR 19. Joanna, would you read the title, please?
A resolution approving an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Northglenn and the City of Westminster regarding the 120th Avenue over I-25 Bridge pedestrian railing repainting project.
Move for approval. Heather?
Mayor Dodge, Kent Kisselman, our Public Works Director, is here this evening, who will provide you with an overview of this item.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor
Good
and
evening.
Council. Thank you for having me this evening. This project is a combined effort with the City of Westminster to obviously paint our guardrails on 120th. Last year, the City of Westminster partnered with Thornton, and they did 136th. Original discussions on this looked like it was going to be a 2020 project, but I think they got favorable bidding on from their contractor this year, so they reached out to us to see if we would be willing to participate in 2019. We discussed it, found the funds to do so. We have the original, the total project cost for the supplemental appropriation is $460,606, and that's our 50% share of the total project. And they would start this as soon as we get the IGA signed or executed, then we'll get a schedule from the contractor of when they'll begin the work, but it will be this year or summer.
Okay. Questions or comments from council?
I have a quick question. Is a 20% contingency normal for a project like this?
Yeah, for this type of a project, because they're taking down the rails and they have to remove them and they have to move them off-site and sandblast them, so there could be some additional, things that go wrong with the rails or replacement of certain parts, so.
All right. And then another question, is there going to be any signage on the, is there going to be any new North logo or anything on the bridge?
No, this is just strictly the existing railings that are there.
rail.
And so it would just be fixing the existing railings. If we want to put up additional signage, then we would do that.
Currently, there's signage at 104th on the bridge.
Yeah.
We do have funds budgeted in the 2019 budget, but given the communications manager transition, we need to reevaluate how we're going to move forward with that. And certainly, part of looking at the big picture of signage overall, entryway signage, street signage, so forth, would be looking at if we do something for 120th in the future.
Right.
Any other questions? None, thank you. Kent?
Thank you. Just one quick note. On your memo, you'll notice a new name on there below mine, which is Matt Wiederspan. And he is here tonight, and he is our new city engineer.
Matt.
So
Hi.
he's welcome member and doing a great job. So thank you.
Welcome to Northglenn. All right. Joanna, would you open the vote, please?
The vote is open.
Please vote.
I'll close that vote, and CR 19 passes unanimously.
Thank you. We move to CR 42. Joanna, would you read the title, please?
A resolution adopting the City of Northglenn 2019 pay plan as amended.
Move for approval.
Second.
Heather?
Thank you, Mayor Dodge. This evening, we have Paula Jensen, our Management Services Director, with us this evening, along with Kent Kisselman, our Director of Public Works, to walk you through a proposal for a Public Works intern.
All right, thank you. Hi, Paula.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Paula Jensen, Director of Management Services. We are asking to amend the adopted 2019 pay plan and add the position of intern. On the pay plan, you can see that that's added on page 1 of 4 under Management Services and Administration. This would be a temporary position, similar to seasonal positions, working in the summer during the off months from college. The Public Works Department is seeking an individual that can perform some lower-level engineering routine tasks. If you look at the memo under background, the position would assist the department in a variety of technical and administrative tasks, including sidewalk condition data, scanning record documents, and performing inspections, among other duties. Further, the Public Works Department indicates that some of the work that can be accomplished on this temporary basis would create a savings of approximately $80,000 in lieu of hiring a consultant to do that sidewalk work. The individual would be someone who is seeking a 4-year degree in engineering, so it would be a true paid internship for a Bachelor of Arts candidate, or Bachelor of Science probably, and if it's in engineering. The approximate cost for about 10 weeks of full-time work is $7,500. This does include the temporary benefit costs, which are Medicare, workers' compensation, and then deferred compensation in lieu of Social Security. And this cost can be absorbed by first quarter salary savings within the Public Works Department. And Kent is also here, as you know, if you would like to ask any more specific questions about the position.
All right, questions? No? This is going to be your grunt worker, huh?
Sounds like a great opportunity.
We know what you're going to make them do.
We
Or
will
her,
pro-
him or her.
We will provide a meaningful experience for this intern.
There you go.
And do you see this position every year you're going to try and fill this? And are you going to actively work with the schools to find the best candidate, or how does that work?
Oh, sorry, Paul, go ahead.
You go ahead. I have some thoughts, but let's hear yours.
We're a team.
We are.
Yeah, I can see this position being a yearly position. It gives an opportunity for engineering students to, further, they're required in some cases to do internships as well. And last year, we partnered with the Legacy High School program and had a intern that was just a senior in high school. So we've had some interest already, folks reaching out to us as they've heard some of the forthcoming news of tonight's meeting. So, yeah, it's a wonderful opportunity.
Because it's a temporary position, it doesn't add to the FTE count, the full-time equivalency. And if dollars are appropriated, Kent or other departments could use this opportunity to hire an intern for different projects in their department, which is why we added it where we did in the pay plan. So there's some flexibility. Of course, the department directors would need to seek city manager approval and present that project, but by adding it to the pay plan in the manner that we did, it does create some flexibility to do some of the projects like this.
Jenny?
Quick question, thank you. First, thank you for bringing this forward. Thank you for making it a paid position. I very much disagree with unpaid internships because it doesn't value the level of expertise that somebody could be coming to us with, so thank you for that. The question that I have is, do you imagine that this is a program that you're going to continue to grow and this is a pilot year? Where do you see this going in the long term? And that was for Kent, sorry.
I'm gonna let him answer it.
Yeah, I think, it was something that we thought of, and we just kind of played off of, the internship that we did last year that was from the high school student. And so, having an opportunity to do this and meeting with the rest of our staff and what the future looks like, that's something that we need to develop and find out. But, yeah, I think it's a great opportunity for students, and if we do it year over year and they know that it's coming, I think, the quality of folks that we'll get will just increase.
Do you feel like you have more than enough work for one intern? Do you feel like you can handle more interns? Do you want more interns, but you're just shooting for one?
Yeah, I think right now, one, we're gonna be, thanks to Paula and the, advertisement, our engineer 2 is gonna be starting on May 7th. And so this will be the first time the engineering department will be fully staffed in about 3 years. So with the workload and things that we have, having a full staff and then having an intern that can, again, go out and do some of that assessment of the sidewalks and begin to build our programs and CIP programs that we've discussed in previous meetings is going to be, very important in our move forward. So, I don't know what the future holds for this position, but we certainly have enough work for one person this year.
Great, thanks for bringing it forward.
It's important that, and I agree with Kenton, as long as the work is there, I think it will be supported. We want to make sure we're not displacing a full-time employee with temporary staff. Because we do have full-time staff, we want to make sure those are filled and then fill those intern positions to do that grunt work, if you will.
It's just a joke. So the data collection that they're actually providing, though, so a lot of times we go out to consulting firms for those things. Is that going to alleviate some of the consultant
We
costs?
did. So we've
Yeah.
talked about doing our PCI, our pavement condition index, and we reached out to that same firm and said, what would it do to do a condition index of our sidewalks? And that's where they came back and they said, well, it would be an additional $80,000. And so 3 years ago, when we did it the first time, we took a person from the collections distribution division and had him do it. But again, as the programs and the things that we're doing, we just don't have that opportunity to take other staff members from other divisions to utilize that. So having the opportunity to get out there and get in the field and gain that knowledge is going to be invaluable.
Sounds great. The position, anyone else want to weigh in? No? Thank you both.
Thank you.
Joanna, would you open the vote, please?
The vote is open.
Please vote.
We'll close that vote, and CR 42 passes unanimously.
Thank you. We move to CR 43. Joanna, the title, please.
A resolution supporting the designation of St. Stephen's Church on the National Register of Historic Places.
Move for approval. Heather?
Thank you, Mayor Dodge. Becky, are you going to speak to this item? Yeah.
Thank you. Becky Smith with the Planning Department here. Just a quick overview. The Northglenn Historic Preservation Commission and the Historic Preservation Foundation hired a consultant, Tatanka Associates, to prepare an application for nomination for National Register of Historic Places for St. Stephen's Church. That's the church located on the corner of Huron and Kennedy. The nomination was reviewed and accepted by the State Historic Preservation Office, SHPO, as some of you might know it, and shall be considered by the Colorado Historic Preservation Review Board for National Register at their May 17th meeting. CR 43 would authorize the mayor to sign a letter of support for the nomination for St. Stephen's Church to be on the National Register of Historic Places. Staff is recommending approval of CR 43, and I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any.
All right, questions?
Not any questions, but of course, the Historic Commission is very excited about this whole process, and I see St. Stephen's is here to support us also. At our meeting on Wednesday, we will also be having a resolution to support this nomination, so we're excited.
I think it's an honor for both Northglenn and St. Stephen's, so it's a great thing. Joanna, would you open the vote, please?
The vote is open.
Please vote.
I'll close that vote, and CR 43 passes unanimously.
Thank you. Thank you for coming this evening. You bet. You didn't think we would say no, did you?
No, I didn't.
No. Have a good evening. We move to CR 44. Joanna, would you read the title, please?
A resolution approving a memorandum of understanding between the City of Northglenn and Xcel Energy for the implementation phase of the Partners in Energy program.
Move for approval.
Second.
Secondary. Heather?
Thank you, Mayor Dodge. Becky Smith, our planning manager, will provide an overview of this item.
I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Becky Smith, Planning Department. CR 44 would authorize the mayor to enter into an MOU with Xcel Energy to be a part of their Partners in Energy program. Through the partnership, we would work with them and they would provide us consulting services to develop an energy action plan. We feel that this energy action plan will help us strategize to get us closer to our energy conservation goals that were established in the Northglenn Sustainability Plan. So staff does recommend approval of CR 44, and I'm happy to answer any further questions about that program, if there are any.
Questions, comments? None? Thank you, Becky. Joanna, would you open the vote, please?
The vote is open.
Please vote.
I'll close that vote, and CR 44 passes unanimously.
Thank you. We move to CR 45. Joanna, the title, please.
A resolution authorizing a donation of city funds to the Ralston House.
Move for approval.
Second.
Heather?
Thank you, Mayor Dodge. City Council, this evening, we have Don Mosley, the Executive Director of Ralston House, with us. Excuse me, the Ralston House has made a request of the city, as well as the other construction IGA partners, to donate remaining funds to the Ralston House to be used for operating expenses, help offset costs that they've incurred in opening the new facility in late January. That information is included in your packet. So the remaining funds for Northglenn is a total of $16,247, and staff is recommending approval of that. The total cost of construction, you can see down in the table on the first page of the memo, is approximately $1.6 million. The total funds collected through the IGA was about 1.9 million. So based on the formula within the IGA, each city, as of the 12th, Northglenn has cut checks to each of those entities, and they are making decisions individually as to whether or not to donate their remaining funds. So far, I know that Adams County has made a decision to donate their remaining funds, somewhere in the ballpark of about $93,000, if I recall correctly. Thornton is considering having the item come before their outside agency equivalent program to what we have. And then I believe Brighton is also considering donating their funds. I have not heard what the other entities are considering at this point.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, I would encourage us to go ahead and donate the funds, and also that the funds will be used for the Northglenn site. They won't be used for any of the other sites.
Correct.
Yes.
Any other comments? None? Don, I know you've stayed here this late into our meeting. Did you want to say anything, or no? Or, yeah, come on forward.
Don Mosley, Executive Director of Ralston House. Thank you to the city for what you've already done for us. We certainly would love to get these funds, but if not, you've already been very generous with us. I would let you give you a little update. We've seen over 200 kids at the Northglenn site through the first quarter, through January, February, and March. The city of Northglenn has, in those first 3 months, we've seen as many kids from Northglenn as we saw all of last year. I think it's just a testament to having this space, being able to get people in. We have had nothing but great comments from both families and law enforcement. We had the FBI in. They did about 10 interviews recently and are expected to do more. And they send in agents from all over the country. They had 3 agents there, and they said it is the best designed, not necessarily what we're doing, although they were complimentary of that too, but the best designed advocacy center. They asked if they could share the plans with other advocacy centers across the country, that the way it is set up, they were just incredibly impressed with it. And you know, you never know when you have something designed, you think, is this going to work? Because it's unlike other advocacy centers. And we are getting nothing but very positive comments on it. So we really appreciate what Northglenn has already done for us this year, since we've come here 5 years ago, but especially this last year. Thank you very much.
Your statistics are really unnerving.
Yes.
That's really high. So I think anybody who would turn down donating the money back to you is crazy. So thank you for coming this evening. Joanna, would you open the vote, please?
The vote is open.
Please vote, sorry.
We'll close that vote. CR 45 passes unanimously.
Thank you. Thank you, Don. Thanks for coming this evening.
Thanks for waiting.
All right, we move to our discussion items, the first being the Civic Center Master Plan, Phase 1, implementation and April update with Amanda Peterson.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Amanda Peterson, Director of Parks, Recreation, and Culture. I'm here tonight to provide you our standard monthly update on our progress with the new Recreation Center, Senior Center, and Theater. Wanted to start with, as I outlined in the memo, there's no change to the budget or timeline at this stage. We have one design contingency item, as you saw last month, and so no new design contingency items this month. We do still have one, we have several outstanding anticipated design changes over the course of the project. The next one we will probably see before you would be the plat services fee for some additional assistance through that entitlement process. Again, as planned last month, but that complete signed change order is not done yet. You'll likely see that reported on the next month's update. Over the course of the last month, staff have really been working through the entitlement process and the zoning, as you heard from Becky earlier, as well as a collaborative effort between staff, the project management team, the design team, and the contractor to develop the initial guaranteed maximum price. With the CMGC contract, that initial guaranteed maximum price is that first pricing target that the contractor is held to for the duration of the design process. That figure includes a 5% contingency at this stage, and our goals are to develop that IGMP that's within our identified budget. And in order to do so, there's been a series of meetings since we presented that SD report to you to clarify design questions, modify design details, and affirm design allowances. You may, throughout this process, you may see some changes, some minor changes to the design of the facility between the SD phase and the design development phase. Those changes are all done with the goal of providing a facility that meets community needs as well as that pesky budget. Our ultimate, like I said, all of the program elements that we talked about through the SD phase do remain in the program at this point in time. And hopefully next month we'll have a better idea. But some of those changes are going to be things like having conversations with our general contractor where they're reading a set of plans and making assumptions about how that building is designed, making sure that those are aligned. So sometimes that brings a cost up or down based on their assumptions. Sometimes we're looking at the square footage of the building compared to where we were at concept phase, where we were at SD, where are we at today, and do those align properly? So staff are working together to make those adjustments so that the contractor can give us an IGMP that is accurate and within the budget that we have available. We anticipate that final IGMP development meeting to be held this Friday, so we're getting very close to wrapping that up, and then we'll move into the first design development meeting on May 16th. The next budget refinement then that happens is at the end, at the end of the construction design phase. So we go through DD and then begin that construction design phase before we're ready to break ground. They will do that, issue that final guaranteed maximum price to us, and that reduces that contingency from 5% to 3% as we start to tighten that up. Like I said, throughout the last month, staff have also been working on the entitlement process. I do have Eric here today, and I would love for him to give you a quick update on that entitlement process because he is far more familiar with that than I am, and he's here. So
Great.
I'll turn it over to you, Eric.
Good evening, Mayor, members of City Council. Eric Enzi, Senior Planner with the City's Planning and Development Department. Just to provide you a brief update on kind of where we're at in the entitlement process for the project as we continue to move forward. For those of you who may not know, the entitlement process is basically that process that gets a project to construction phase. So what basically that means is we are obtaining all the necessary approvals and all the necessary steps to develop a project. So tonight's approval of the zoning is kind of a first step in the zoning side of the entitlement process. The next steps in that zoning entitlement process will include a replatting of the entire property because there will be some lots that will likely be sold at some point in the future. And then a site development plan for the new Recreation Center, Senior Center, Performing Arts theater facility, as well as the associated site improvements, parking, landscaping, those types of things. The plating does require approval by the Planning Commission, well, review by the Planning Commission and ultimate approval by City Council. There are public improvements associated with that development, so that's why that process gets kicked up to you guys. The site development plan does not go before City Council. It's reviewed by the Planning Commission and approved by the Planning Commission, but you'll be involved throughout the development of the site through the design process. So there should be no surprises to you guys. At this time, we do anticipate submittal of the plat and site plan at some point in May. We're working towards that goal. Public hearings will be scheduled then in July and August after an internal staff review of the application that's submitted. Now, there's a second portion of the entitlement process that is kind of a separate process, can be run concurrently and will be run concurrently during the summer months. And basically, that's known as the civil package. So basically what that is all public infrastructure is reviewed in conformance with the city's design standards and specifications that are part of the city's engineering department. So this entitlement package, like I said, is called the civil package, and it's processed separately from the zoning package. So there's a number of different entitlement processes. We do anticipate that the civil package will be completed sometime here in the fall. And at that point, we can then begin site improvements on the property. So that would include Memorial Parkway, grading of the site, those types of things. And last but not least, the final part of the entitlement process is the building construction drawings. So those are necessary in order to obtain a building permit and actually begin the vertical construction of the building itself. We anticipate, as we're doing site stuff, we'll continue refining the building permit package, and the building permit should be issued around the beginning of 2020, and we'll start vertical construction there shortly after that. So that's all that I have for you this evening.
All right. Thank you, Eric. Any questions on on any portion of the report tonight?
It's not really a question, it's a statement, and I think it's fair to start doing this to you now, okay? After the last meeting and going over some stuff and thinking about some stuff, the budget on this is really giving me heartburn. So I want to be really fair with you that I really want to watch the expenses on this. 'Cause that's a lot of money, you know, and as we talk about moving things at a faster pace or whatever, I am very, very concerned about that dollar amount. So much like we did with the Justice Center, you know, we're gonna hold you, you know, once you get everybody in place, hold you to it. But know that, from my standpoint, it's me a lot.
We understand it is a huge project and a tremendous
Yes.
amount of money. We want to make sure that we're able to provide you a facility that you're happy with, that meets your needs and meets the budget, which is why we have gone through, I don't think I can count how many hours of meetings in the last month, going through line item by line item by line item to make sure that what's in that proposed budget makes sense, should be there, and brings that total to the dollars that we have available.
Now, this comes before council, I mean, once we get the budget and everything tied down, that comes before council again, right?
So we will come before council with an IGMP, and then with the final guaranteed maximum price. There is when we have the final, I believe it's at final guaranteed maximum price, you will have there will be an amendment to the contract with FCI, similar to what you did with the Justice Center. We'll amend their contract then for the construction phase of the project. So right now, their contract was for that smaller amount, and I don't know it off the top of my head, that you approved a couple of months ago now, to get us through that design phase with an addendum for a much larger amount, which feels kind of backwards. Usually we have the big contract amount first, but with this particular process, you only awarded the 125, and then we'll award the remainder of that contract at FGMP.
This is gonna be the biggest thing that we've worked on since I've been on city council, and I think in a while.
I might venture to say almost,
Ever?
maybe ever.
Ever. Okay, I didn't wanna I was waiting for the city expert to
It's
tell me.
okay.
And I want to make sure that we are really good stewards of our constituents' money, because this number, as it continues to get out into, into our communities, is really being brought to my attention. I've had it asked me several times. So let's keep an eye on it. Please, and
Definitely.
thank you. And I don't mean,
And part of what comes with that, like I mentioned, you may see some modifications between SD and DD, schematic design development, because there may be some things we have to shift around or move. Again, with our goal being to still be able to provide what our community asked for, what you all have asked for, and a product that will last well into our future, but also meets that budget.
Are you done?
no, I'm still got the heartburn coming up. Between this and a couple of our other projects, seriously, heartburn. So I'll trust you for a little bit.
Okay.
Till you get like some real numbers in front of us. You getting Chiefs back there? He'll help her.
Julie?
I have a quick question.
Yes.
So I see that we awarded the contract to Susan Stanton back in January for the P3 refinement. Do we have an idea of when we're going to hear something?
Debbie is not here for me to
Okay,
turn to. I'm going to turn to Heather on that one.
So we just got news today that the EPA approved our grant request in the full amount. So we will, I will get something scheduled on a future agenda to bring that piece back. So I don't have a date off the top of my head. That EPA approval was one of the main components that we were hoping to get sooner than later. Unfortunately, we got it today. So a big shout out to Debbie for her work in pulling that grant application together and getting the approvals put together so that we can utilize those funds. There's about $200,000 in remaining funds. Not sure that we'll use that full funding amount, but that's a huge help in terms of not having to utilize other city dollars for that initial work that we've discussed previously.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comment?
That's great news.
Yeah.
I just want to add on to her comment just
Yes.
a little bit. I also feel like we have this one shot to have this really amazing showcase of a building, and while I'm not into going over budget and adding all kinds of things, I would hope that we can get the amenities that we at least talked about so far, and who knows, maybe something additional, because I just think it's going to be such a good thing for our community, and yeah, that's all.
I don't think I can promise you anything additional at this point, but as of right now, even with the hard work that we have done, and sometimes painful work that we have done over the last few weeks, the components that were asked for all remain in place, and we haven't taken out a program element to achieve that.
Okay, sounds good.
All
Thank you.
right?
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Eric, Amanda, both of you. And our last discussion item this evening is the Adams County Mayors and Commissioners Youth Awards Recognition Program. Hi, Paula.
Mayor and Council, Paula Jensen, Director of Management Services. I think we are going to end really easy here tonight. If you recall, March 25th, a few Mondays ago, we had people sitting on the floor, leaning against walls for our Adams County Mayors and Commissioners Youth Awards recognition. We are here to get nods from City Council tonight to move that ceremony out of council chambers and to the theater. We are proposing to do it on Monday, March 16th of 2020. We've calendared it already. It is a study session night. We would do it in lieu of a study session unless there are items that are pressing and need to be handled on that night. We would do the ceremony and then send you all back over here for your regular study session. But I think we can all agree that this space is just simply not big enough. And the theater lends itself to a more ceremonial atmosphere, if you will, and allows everyone to have a seat and give good recognition, and it's theatrical and all those things that a theater brings. So with nods from council, I can sit back down and plan to go to the theater next year for this recognition.
All right. Council?
Good plan.
Cool. Genius.
Should we make it that easy for Paula?
Yes, you should.
Do we anticipate that many kiddos again? I mean, oh my goodness.
I think it's safe to say we do. The numbers have just continued to grow year over year. So there's just no evidence that it's decreasing.
Yeah.
That it's just not there. So, yeah, I think we plan ahead and make some assumptions.
It's a good idea.
I like it. Yeah. I see consensus.
Okay,
How does
great.
that sound?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we will move to communications. Jenny?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Okay. Julie?
Nothing for me.
What?
Antonio? Welcome back. The only thing I have that concerns the city was planning ceremony at Park on Friday. I thought that was amazing to see those young people out there. I think we need a first aid kit and more supervisors, because those I had fourth graders, they all wanted to handle this shovel that had an arm on it. I was blocking kids saying, "You're gonna lose your eye." But all in all, it was great. I thought the turnout was great, and I think the kids really enjoyed it. And it's a tribute to our community. That's all.
How was the Final Four?
Go Cavaliers. Means Duke didn't make it.
Was it worth it? Was the trip worth it?
A Final Four?
Well, I
It's like a Super Bowl.
I want to hear some excitement on
It's
that.
the Super Bowl of college basketball.
Okay, all right.
There's nothing greater than a Final Four.
All right,
I'll bring my shirt next time.
there you go. I would also, I guess I'll start with the Arbor Day celebration also. It was great. Thank you to the council members who were there and helped plant trees, staff, knock it out of the park because you had it all set up for us and it was oh so easy. And there was really a ton of staff there who helped make everything run really seamlessly, so thank you. And thank you to the school, Westview Elementary. The kids were well-behaved. My group was well-behaved, maybe I should say. I don't know how your groups were, but it was great. Yeah, so that was a really good event. It was really seamless and well done, so. I did want to say that the Northglenn Youth Theater will have a new musical, Freaky Friday, that opens this Friday in our theater. The shows are going to run from April 26th through May 5th, so if you're interested in seeing their take on this Disney, I mean, everybody's seen Freaky Friday, although maybe I date myself because I've seen Freaky Friday as a movie. I don't know how it plays as a musical, so it might be kind of interesting, but you can see the complete list of the shows on the website. And I did attend Joyce and her Adams County Cultural Council, held grant interviews here in council chambers, and Michael Stricker, who was representing the Northglenn Arts and Humanities Foundation, was there presenting because they would like to get some grant money to help with a sculpture, or signature sculpture in the new theater. And Michael did an outstanding job as always, and I was just there to lend support of the city and city council in how we support our Arts and Humanities Foundation and everything that they've done, so that's it for me.
I don't have a whole lot, but I work from home, so I get to hear and see everything, that happens in my ward. But I think the most exciting thing for this last week has been hearing the emblem, hearing the horns. You're just like, the first time I heard it, I actually posted it on Facebook. Am I really hearing the horns? And then I started to get used to it, and I didn't hear them today, so I was a little paranoid. But it's so nice to know that we're finally on some kind of a track with that. And those horns aren't so loud for me. I'm like, what, 2 October? Yeah, but I can hear them, so that's really awesome. And I'm glad that it's finally happening. That's all I have.
I hope it really happens,
I know, me too.
I've been living this for a long
I know.
time. I know. Actually, someone told me that they were actually at the crossing and heard the horns blowing, and they went, "It's so peaceful."
It was.
To listen to them, blowing.
It was so awesome of you.
I know, so I'm happy.
I know.
It works, you know, so.
It was like magic.
I do want to do a brief update on my favorite subject, which is Rocky Flats. And I believe council has received an email from Superior. And I just want to say that, first and foremost, the Rocky Flats Council is very concerned about drilling. They don't want drilling, you know, over on the site. That goes without question. But the board has decided not to vote to support or oppose drilling at the site until we get questions answered from the different agencies that have input into the site, like Department of Energy and a lot of those other places. So what has happened is a letter was stimulated by the Superior motion to oppose, and the board has written a letter to DOE, CDPHE, EPA, U.S. Fish and Wildlife. We CC'd it to the governor and all the state reps and the senators. So everybody has a copy of all of our concerns. We're asking all kinds of questions, depending on how it relates to their departments, the questions that we have for Rocky Flats. So we want to make sure that we get these questions answered. It went out on April 5th. It was right after the Superior asked for this motion. We are really trying to work with Superior, but there are many entities sitting on this board. Not everyone feels the same way Superior does. So we're trying to work with all the entities, refine the motion that they have, and also work with Superior. So Superior is actually working with us to rewrite the motion. But right now, the board is not willing to vote either way, you know, on it. There's just too many questions answered, so, or questions that, from the board, so we're trying to wait for answers. And it's gonna take a while, I think, because, as an example, EPA was the first one to respond to us. And they sent us a letter saying, we received your letter, and we will respond to you when we, you know, at further notice. So there's a lot of things going on, but we're trying to be very cautious about what we do. And so I just wanted to give you an update that we're not forgetting it, and we're trying to work with everyone. There was a lot of process questions asked. And so, again, we're trying to work with Superior and try to get a motion that everybody on the board that sits there will be comfortable with. So I just kind of wanted to give you that. We are going to be meeting again in June, and then we will take this subject up again. So, yeah.
Joyce, where can we find a copy of the letter?
I can send you, I've got a copy. In fact, I gave Heather a copy of the letter with all the questions, and also a copy of the refined motion that we're working on it too.
Is that something that you can share with council?
Yeah, it's open records.
Cool, and then my second question is, will you give us all a heads up via email or in council communications before the next Rocky Flats meeting
Sure.
in June?
Sure.
So that if we want to come and listen, we can do that.
Absolutely, in fact, you know. Now,
Thank you.
there will not be a public hearing, so it'll just be conversation among the board, but I welcome you coming, you know, or anybody that wants to come. So, but I just want to give you a heads up that we're not ignoring this whole thing, but there is a process that we go through, and some of this process was not handled correctly. So anyway, that's all I've got.
Okay, well, happy Earth Day.
Yay.
No, it's a big deal. So if you, as a resident, aren't recycling yet, you've got to get a can. We've gotten so good at it at home that we could have weekly pickup. Like it overflows and I'm knocking on my neighbor's door, like, can I put some stuff in your can? So once you get up and running, it's amazing and it's the best thing for our environment, so do that. Arbor Day obviously partners with that, plant a tree, plant flowers, but. And then I attended the flashlight Easter egg hunt. And once again, I gain a huge appreciation for our city staff And for anybody that works with middle school students, that is not an age that's my favorite. They are a very unique batch of young people. They had a great time. There was a DJ, and that was a party. But I really appreciated the city staff that put that on, and they rocked it. I attended a really unique event with my principal hat on that I wanted to share with you because I'd like to encourage us to try it. The city of Lakewood partnered with the principals in Lakewood and had a joint luncheon, and it was so great. As a principal, we felt really supported, but it was nice to have that partnership between the city and the schools. I think we think we have that, but that was the first time that we all sat in the same room. And so that was something that I would like to offer as an idea. It is super hard to schedule, but you just gotta kind of dig in. There was a middle school that hosted, so we did a tour of the school and then had a joint lunch. And schools presented things that were happening in their community and what was up and coming. And I think it'd be really great to do that. So that'd be a fun thing. And then I also just want to do a shout out again. Yeah, I'm going to get all weepy to our police officers. I'm just going to talk through it. Wednesday was hard, and Thursday and Friday weren't better. I should stop. Our superintendent made the right call, and our police are amazing. And the partnership was outstanding, and it made everybody feel really safe. So, thank you.
Thank you. Joanna, do you have anything tonight?
I do have one quick item, just a scheduling event item. The City Council outside agency funding approved a sponsorship for the Food for Hope dinner. It's coming up next week on Thursday, May 2nd. The event starts at 6 p.m. It's at the Wedgwood Brittany Hill location. The city has 12 seats for the event. So if anybody is interested in attending, they're an organization that bridges the gap for students and hunger. So they send children home with a bag of food every weekend. Please contact either myself or Susan Baca, and we'll make sure that you're RSVP'd for the event. So that's all.
Thank you very much. Heather?
Thank you, Mayor Dodge. Just a couple quick items. Next Monday evening, we have municipal judge candidate interviews scheduled, I believe beginning at 5 o'clock. Question for council is there consensus to televise those interviews, or would you prefer that they not be televised? Back in 2014, we had an audio recording of those interviews. So the question is, would you like them televised or not televised?
Don't have a problem with televised.
I think you also need to ask that question of the people being televised. So
This is your call.
well, I understand that, but I mean, don't they weigh in on,
They know they're being interviewed at a public meeting.
but do they know that they're gonna be televised? Should they know?
We will certainly let them
I
know,
think that would be a good idea.
but nonetheless, it's your call whether or not it's televised.
Is anyone against televising it?
No.
No.
Okay.
We'll let them know.
Is that all that you have this evening?
Just one more item. Heather Grady Rule has mock-ups of our 50th anniversary banners that we thought we would share. She's put a lot of hard work into coming up with these. Our very own Vanna White. So Heather, do you want to share with council how many designs you have, and I'll come around and I can help you.
That one's nice.
When will they be put up?
We're gonna phase in putting them up because we didn't do street closures, and we are using staff to put them up.
Okay.
So the first ones that will go up, plan will be on.
I think those are exactly the same.
In time for the food truck carnival, and then we'll phase in the others.
Thank
As
you.
we
So
go.
cool.
There's a different
The idea is that we do approximately half
of these, and then add 2 additional banners, there'd be 4 banners, of iconic buildings in the city, and then we stagger them. As you know, the light poles are not directly across, they're staggered. So then you'd be able to see this repeated over and over again throughout the city, and then these images in various locations.
Well done. They look really nice.
Awesome.
I'm not so fond of that one,
Yeah,
but
me
you
too.
know, it's a little blah.
No,
But-
you see all of them in one.
How awesome. Thank you for getting that taken care of. so fast.
So cool.
Appreciate it.
All right,
That's all I have, Mayor.
okay. Corey?
That was a good last note.
Yeah, I can't compete with that, so
Can't compete
nothing.
with that. I want to add one thing. I forgot, of course, during Jerry Gavette's recognition this evening, Councilmember Whitman had said, and she can't be here tonight, but she wanted me to tell Jerry Gavette how much she respects and loves him, and he's a wonderful volunteer for the city. And of course, I didn't do that. I know Jerry knows that, but just so Marcy can hear me say it on TV. I said it not when I was supposed to, but, you know, I tried. Anyway, I mean, Jerry is a really great volunteer, and she works closely with him on a lot of different organizations, so she just wanted to show her support. That is it. Yes.
And just want to support what Meredith suggested about the schools. A couple of years ago, the council met with the school board and discussed traffic issues, a lot of other things. We had it over dinner, and it really brought a lot of good ideas and working very well together. So I would support doing something.
Yeah, let me weigh in on that too, because I think it's really important when you see somebody across from you or in your community and you know that they're the principal of this school, the principal of that school, it makes a difference in how we build our community.
Right.
So I support that.
Okay.
Okay. Public invited to be heard. Did you want to come up and speak again in the public invited to be heard? Sir, I'm sorry, I forgot. Was it Matt?
Yeah.
Did you want to come up and?
I'm just,
You're good?
I'm waiting to get copies of it.
Okay, I'm sorry. All right, well, seeing no, that's okay. Seeing no public here tonight, I would move to adjourn the meeting. I don't need to vote. I don't need to vote. We're adjourned. Sorry. Thank you, everyone.